Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Darrell Owens, and we are back for another edition of 101, the latest edition of 101, episode 199. That means next week is number 200. We knew we would get there before the season. Who knew that we planned it out beautifully where it would happen right as we get ready for the Super Bowl? But we got a lot to get into. We got a lot to kind of get into today. Talk about last week's games, get you ready for tomorrow's games. It's going to be a fun affair. And to find out who's going to take a trip to the Super Bowl. There's so much to get into. And your boy's close on a prediction, but I may have just jinxed it by saying that. But with all that being said, once again, this is Darrell Owens, Legacy Maker Sports Network. We're getting ready to bring you some hotness here live on the Legacy Maker Sports Network and, of course, on the amazing Bowie Television. Now, by this time tomorrow, we should know at least one team that is in the or at least heading to the Super Bowl and will be crowned at least the AFC champions by then. But let's go ahead and get it going. Episode 199 of 101 starts now. One.
Welcome to the 101. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to the 101. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to 101 at Legacy Maker Sports Network.
Episode 199 is here, ladies and gentlemen, on the Legacy Maker Sports Network and, of course, airing on the amazing Bowie Television. Today, we get an opportunity to kind of get into tomorrow's championship games, talk a little bit about how we think things are going to go. Now, of course, your boy hasn't had a good record in these championship games. Last year, I went 0-2. The year before then, I think I split. And it's just whatever team I pick, they just tend to do your boy wrong, and I think last year I had Commanders and Bills, both teams lost. Year before then, I had Lions and Ravens, both teams lost. So I'm pretty much setting up the two teams today, and not, because I want to, but I'm setting up the two teams today by accident. And I do apologize right off the bat, but this is who I true to heart, either want to see / think how it's going to play out. And unfortunately, your boy has had a really bad number when it comes to those things, but we'll get into all that. It has been a fun ride this season, and I can't believe we're getting here to the end and, about to shut down 101 for the sixth season edition of 101 is going to, got a couple of more shows left before we get ourselves prepared for season 7, the interview sessions, which I got some good names planned in there, but we'll talk about those later. Now, like I was saying earlier, when this airs, we will have at least an AFC champion by time. I said that wrong. By time that this time tomorrow, I knew I was destroying it. This time tomorrow, we will know for sure. We'll at least have the AFC champion by, this time tomorrow. So, and then the NFC game will be in full stride by that time. So let's go ahead and kind of get into this, the power rankings. Where do I have it going into championship week? We'll go over last week's games. I'll give you my winners, so on and so on. First and foremost, let's talk about how your boy did last week. Now, last week wasn't that bad, right? 2-4 that first weekend. I went 3-4 last weekend to make up for the disaster wild card weekend. And so right now I'm sitting at 5-5. Now I'm hoping to be 7-5, ladies and gentlemen. Hoping to be 7-5 by the time, this weekend is over. And then, that'll at least guarantee me a winning record no matter what, even if I lose in the Super Bowl, my Super Bowl one. So I want to at least finish the playoffs above 500. So I need 2 wins between now and the end of the bad boy to have that happen. But yeah, nice weekend last weekend. I got 3 of the games right and 1 wrong. And the one I wanted to be right the most is the one I got wrong. But let's get into last week's games. First, we had things kicked off last Saturday from Denver. We saw the Denver Broncos hold on tight, and beat the Buffalo Bills in overtime 33-30 to advance to the AFC Championship. They're going to host the AFC Championship. And you would think, hey, man, all things are well in Denver. Well, maybe not so much. Game ends. You see Bo Nix. He's giving his post-game press conference, and he looks excited for his first opportunity to be in the AFC Championship game and maybe take the Broncos back to the Super Bowl for the first time since 2015. And then we find out just maybe like a couple minutes later, just a couple minutes later, we find out that Bo Nix is done for the year. Broke his ankle. Blown away. I was shocked. Couldn't believe it. Still can't believe it that it happened that way, but it did. And it was like, wow, did he just break his ankle? He did. It was the most insane thing. And now Denver fans have to hope and pray that Jason Statham can go in there and do his thing. I said Jason Statham, Jared Statham. I'm definitely trying to make him the transporter, but he's got to hope that he can come through and do big things. I listened to Jordan Palmer this week, and he talked about Statham's abilities, and he made me a semi-believer. Like, Denver can still pull this off. A lot of people have written Denver off and said, hey, they're not going to win this game. It's all about my guy Drake May, and that you might as well check the box and say that the New England Patriots are going to another Super Bowl. And the Patriots have been to a lot of Super Bowls. And so it would be quite interesting to see if they can knock it in and make that happen again this year. But that's where it all gets, interesting. So in this game, we saw Josh Allen, 25 for 39, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. He had a fumble, 283 yards passing, and it just wasn't enough. They had chances. There was a play where Allen saw Kincaid cutting across. This could have won them the game. He overthrew Kincaid just by a little bit, and they end up having to kick field goal. And they had the chance. They had the chance, and it just did not happen the way they would like that happen. Then on the Denver side, Bo Nix, he had 26 for 46, 3 touchdowns and a pick, and obviously now he's out for the season. He led the team in rushing, which is not something that you want to see, and that's going to hurt this week, especially even though that J.K. Dobbins, they were saying, hey, J.K. Dobbins could be back. They said he will not play in tomorrow's game. So even with J.K. Dobbins being out, so now you look at it and say, well, what do they do? Denver's got an uphill battle to climb if they want to win the Super Bowl this year. They got the right coach in place to make that happen, but we shall see. Denver Broncos win 33-30 over Buffalo. In the second game of the Saturday contest, we saw the Seattle Seahawks dominate the San Francisco 49ers. I didn't see this coming. Yes, I picked Seattle to win, but I didn't think it would be like this. I didn't think a 41-6 beatdown would be what we saw from the 49ers. I mean, the 49ers have been a team all season. We've seen the 49ers persevere. I mean, injuries galore. Purdy was out for a while. Ayuk ain't been there all season, and from what we hear, will not be a 49er next year. Ricky Pearsall, his injuries. We also saw, George Kittle broke his ankle. Tore his ACL, excuse me. And the week prior, he was out for this game. So it was a Jake Tungus show. It was injuries. And yet, this team was still 12-5, and they still made the playoffs. They still almost won the division despite all of the injuries. Just imagine if the San Francisco 49ers could stay healthy. How did they not win a Super Bowl? How did they not, be in position to easily win a Super Bowl? How did they not win the division? But somehow they still won 12 games with all the injuries. So that's a shout out to Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, and the crew, that team, for just never giving up. And that's something that you got to, admire, and I do. I admire is despite all the heartbreak that they gave this team right here, all the heartbreak they didn't gave that team right there. No matter what, they still did their thing. So shout out to them. Tough season, tough way to end the season. Seattle was just dominant. Sam Darnold, it wasn't pretty. 12 for 17, 124, and a TD. Walker had a great day. He had 116 yards with 3 touchdowns. Then they lost Zach Charbonnet. He's out for the season. I believe he broke his ankle too. Knee injury. So he had a knee injury. He's out for the season. But they still got Kenneth Walker. So they're not in bad shape there in Seattle, but they get the dub. They win 41-6 over the San Francisco 49ers, and they will be hosting the NFC Championship in Seattle. It will be rocking. The 12-man will be ready to go. So if you are the team that has to face them, it's going to be a little bit tough. Then we head to Sunday, 3:00 matchup. We had the New England Patriots taking on the Houston Texans. Now, this game was a lot closer than the score indicated, and then it wasn't a lot closer than what the score indicated. I watched this game in shock. CJ Stroud looked absolutely terrible, in my opinion. And I know some of it wasn't on him, but you can definitely tell he was out of it. He threw 4 interceptions. The turnovers. And it's just been bad. CJ Stroud has regressed since his rookie season. And I hate that for him because we were all talking about the great things that he had in store. But ever since then, it's just been a really rough road for him. And I don't know where they go from here. Like, the Texans have a lot of decisions to make in the offseason on what they're going to do. Do they stick with CJ Stroud? Do they feel comfortable with him? Personally, I would stick with him. But do they need to find an offensive coordinator who can come in and match up with him and bring the best out of him? They definitely need some help, in my opinion, on the offensive line. They did have some injuries there, but they've got to figure that out. This team had the number 1 defense, and that defense held them tight in this game. In the end, Drake made them do what they needed to do. I think going into the fourth quarter, it was 21-6. There was multiple possessions where CJ Stroud and them were in, with a chance to either tie the game, take the lead, get it close. They had moments, just didn't happen. But Drake May and the squad did what they needed to do. Drake May had 179 yards. He had 3 touchdowns and a pick. We saw Stephon Diggs get a touchdown in there. Kayshon Boutte got a touchdown in there. Douglas got a touchdown in there. They did good things, and they won the game. And so now the New England Patriots will head to Denver to take on Jarrett Stidham. I hate saying his name. Stidham. They'll take on him in the Denver Broncos in the AFC Championship game. So shout out to the New England Patriots. And there's a lot of fans out there like, I can't believe this is happening again. We all can't believe this is happening again. Now, to the last game, the matinee game on Sunday, we saw the Chicago Bears and the LA Rams go into overtime, and the LA Rams sneak one out against a very capable Chicago Bears team, but just couldn't pull it off in the end. The Rams had to lead the majority of the game. They lost the lead late. Chicago had a chance to do it. Chicago had a chance to win this game, and it just didn't happen. Now, if you go back and look at it, Stafford, he threw for 258 yards. He didn't have no passing touchdowns. He was 20 for 42. It was just a lot going on. But Kyron Williams did his job, and he had 2 rushing touchdowns, and it just kept things alive. Caleb Williams made one of the greatest plays I ever seen. I'm not saying it was the greatest of all time, but it was definitely one of the greatest plays. I mean, this man ran back, 57 yards. They were at the 20. He ran back at least 20 yards. I think he threw a football off his back foot, maybe from the 45-yard line, and then found Cole commit in the end zone. Pretty much, he wasn't wide open, but it felt like he was wide open. But he had enough distance between him and the defender. Easy touchdown. And it just felt like, hey, man, Chicago's going to the NFC Championship game. But the Rams persevered. A big interception by Caleb Williams in the overtime period by Cameron Curl, the former Washington Commander, makes a big play. They get down the field. The field goal kicker for the Rams, and I don't want to destroy my man's name, but he knocks one in, and just like that, we're Mavis. So Harrison Mavis knocks one in, and the LA Rams are heading to Seattle for a third matchup between the Seahawks and the Rams. Now they split that series, and so we've seen those two teams face off, like I said, twice, and they split that series where we will see if the road team has won both games. And so we gonna find. No, I take that back. I think the home team won both games. One way or the other, they're gonna be in Seattle. It's gonna be loud, and I don't know. I just don't know if they're gonna be able to pull it off. Now, let's talk about the power ranking for the week. So heading into the week, to me, the power ranking goes as followed. Number 1, the Seattle Seahawks. After the impressive win over the 49ers, and probably the best division in football that had 3 12-win teams. So, I got them as the 1 seed. Number 2, I got the New England Patriots. And the Patriots, did what they needed to do defensively, offensively. They took, they did what they needed to do. They won the game. They took care of home. And now they get to head to Denver. At 3, I got the LA Rams. It's going to be interesting. That's all I can say. I don't want to put anything past, Seattle. I think they're the 1 seed. They deserve to be where they are. They won. So I still give them the number 1 spot, even over LA. At number 4, I got the Denver Broncos. The loss of Bo Nix is huge. So if Jared Stadium can make it happen, then by all means. The stadium can make it happen by all means. And that would be great for Denver. But that's where I got it. I got Seahawks, Patriots, Rams, and then hidden last on the power rankings, the Denver Broncos. So there it is. Tomorrow, 3 p.m., we will see the Denver Broncos host the New England Patriots with a chance to go to the Super Bowl, to book a trip to Santa Clara. That's all on the line in this one. And Stidham's got a really, really big task on his hands. Like he's got to figure out if he can make it happen, and I'm not sure. I think nobody is sure if they can make this happen. But this should be a really good game. And I think a lot of it is going to be all about the defenses. The defenses are going to be, very, very, very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. And that's where I want to see who wins that battle. But then can Stidham just not make any mistakes? That's going to be key. Not making any mistakes, not doing anything too crazy. And can they pull it off? That's where it will come down to. Now, this matchup between the Patriots and the Broncos will be the 3rd time that these two teams have faced each other in the AFC Championship game. The funny thing about this, though, first time it happened in 2013, where the Broncos would eventually go on to take on the Seahawks and get demolished by the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. It was bad. It wasn't pretty. And they ended up winning that game 26-16. And Brady was there. Then in 2015, the Broncos would beat the Patriots 20-18 in a battle. And they were able to win that game and then move on. And they won the Super Bowl against Carolina that year, 15-1 Carolina team. Now we head to this year. This will be the 3rd time these teams have faced each other in the AFC championship game. The Broncos are 2-0 in these championship games currently. All 3 games were held in Denver. So if you base it off of that, Denver's going to the Super Bowl, right? But I'm not putting anything past Drake May and them just yet. I don't want to do that just yet. And it's going to be a fun game to me, even though a lot of people have kind of written off the Broncos. I can't. Every time you think that they are out of it, they find a way. Sean Payton is leading the helm. Out of all the coaches outside of McVay, McVay and Sean Payton both have Super Bowl rings as a head coach. Vrabel has one as a player, but never as a coach. So it's going to be a fun dynamic. Should be a fun game. I'll give my prediction in a minute, but that's where that game stands. Then we got the NFC Championship game. Your boy can't talk. 6:30 on Fox. It'll be Seahawks and the Rams. And this one to me feels like a toss-up. But the way that the Seattle defense has played has been, I mean, just amazing, you know. And this is the Seahawks' third NFC championship since 2013. And they have been to 2 Super Bowls. They're 1-1 in those Super Bowls. And the Rams situation, would be the Rams' third NFC championship game. And they won both. Then they lost in the Super Bowl against the Patriots in 2018-19. Then they end up beating the Bengals at home in the Super Bowl, the non-Patriot / non-49er Eagles Super Bowl here a couple years back. And so this year we're going to get a non-49er / non-Eagles / non-Chiefs Super Bowl this year. But the funny thing about all this is that rematches. So I'll tell you this. The Seahawks have faced both the Broncos and the Patriots in the Super Bowl in the last 2 Super Bowls that they were in. The Seahawks won against the Broncos. They lost against the Patriots. Easily it could have been a win if they just gave Marshawn Lynch the ball. Sorry, Seahawks fans. I know that's a painful memory, but they've been there. Those two. So if the Seahawks win, it's going to be a rematch, right? If the Patriots win, no matter what, it's going to be a rematch. They faced off against the Rams twice in the Super Bowl. Brady's first ever Super Bowl, they faced off. Brady won that game. The Rams were the favorite. They had the greatest show on turf. They lose. Second time around, it was Aaron Donald and the crew. Jared Goff, his Super Bowl appearance. A lot of people forget that Jared Goff was a Super Bowl quarterback. It wasn't the best game. I think final score was 13-3. It wasn't a pretty game, but the Patriots won that one. So the Patriots are 2-0 against the Rams in the Super Bowl. So if you're the Rams, you're like, there's got to be a little revenge factor in there if that game ends up happening. So out of all these matchups, the only matchup that has never happened is the Broncos and the Rams. And that's where I get to this. And I apologize to both teams now. My prediction for tomorrow, the Rams and the Broncos. Yes. And so reasoning first for the Rams, I picked the Rams at the beginning of the season, and I'm going to ride, and no diddy, right off the bat, I'm going to ride that horse until they are no longer in the playoffs. So until they're eliminated, I'm picking the Rams to win the Super Bowl, and I want to be right. I just want to be right. I've been saying it. People have heard me say it. I've said it from the beginning of the season. On this show, I said Rams and Ravens in the Super Bowl. I talked about how I thought the Rams were going to win it all, and I'm going to stick. Like that meme, I'm going to stick by my man. I'm going to stick by these Rams until they lose. So I got the Rams going, and then on the other side, the Broncos. Now, part of this is because I want to see a different Super Bowl that's never happened before. That's part of it, right? The second part of it is I really think people are looking past the Broncos. And these games, it could be a little bit of the dramatic, and it may shock some people. And I just think that, Stidham's got a chance to go in there and, maybe make himself some money. If he can win these 2 games and give the Broncos a Super Bowl championship, which would be this would be the Broncos' 4th Super Bowl, and put them in a really good, tier right there with like Green Bay and the Chiefs. It'll put them in that echelon of teams that have 4 Super Bowls. So this is big for Broncos, So it'll be interesting to see if the Broncos can go 3-0 against the Patriots in the AFC Championship game and then make this happen. Now, with that being said, and talking about what I talked about earlier, I may have just jinxed both of these teams. I have had a bad record the last couple of years when it comes to picking the championship game, the Super Bowl. It has been bad. The only year I never got both teams right, but a couple of years ago I did split with the Eagles and the Chiefs because I believe I had the Eagles and the Ravens. I believe it was I forgot who the other team was at the time that was going. I think it was Eagles and Buffalo. I got that wrong. And then the year after that, I had the Ravens and the Lions, both of those teams lost. Last year, last year I had the two opposite teams. I had the um, Washington Commanders and the Buffalo Bills. It's just me hoping for the best, right? And it just didn't happen. So I'm going to apologize to the Rams and the Broncos early just in case, but I'm hope I'm right. That's all I hope. I hope I'm right. I've obviously been wrong before, and I hope I'm right. All right, everybody, that's it. Episode 199 of 101 is in the books. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And yes, these, like I told y'all, as we get in the playoffs, the episodes are a little bit shorter, but because, not as many games that we're talking about. So I am excited. I'm excited about the games tomorrow and hoping to see a team go in there and, maybe I get it right this time and go 2-0. That'd be great, right? That would be phenomenal to go 2-0 tomorrow. I don't think it will happen that way, but, we shall see. Now, before I leave, I do want to kind of update everybody on coaching carousels because we've had a lot of things happen. I think we had like 5 or 6 of the jobs that have been locked in. So the first job that was off the board, I believe, was John Harbaugh going to the Giants. So John Harbaugh is the new head coach of the New York Football Giants. We know that Jeff Hafley, the Green Bay Packer defensive coordinator, is now the new head coach in Miami, joining Eric Sullivan, who was a part of that Packers front office. He is now the GM with the Dolphins. So we have that locked in. The Atlanta Falcons named former Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski as their head coach. So there's a lot of Falcons fans that are not thrilled about that happening, especially because of the way they felt like he treated Shedeur Sanders. So it's got a bad taste in their mouth. But there's a lot of Falcons fans that trust Matt Ryan to help figure this thing out, since he is one of the new team presidents of football operations. I believe that's his fancy title. So that's another job that has been locked and loaded. Also, the Baltimore Ravens have brought in Jesse Minter, the Rams defensive coordinator, is now the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. Happening today, Mike McCarthy is going back home. He's going to Pittsburgh, where he grew up, to be the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach, which I had a feeling that one was going to happen. I also thought they might go young gun too, maybe a young guy, and try to maybe figure things out there, but maybe not the case. So it is what it is. But there are still some openings out there. The Browns are still open. The Arizona Cardinals still open. It's another one or two that are open, but those two are still open. And I don't know why I'm missing one, but I'm missing 2 of them, y'all. What are the other matchups that I said? But there's a couple that are still open, and so I think there's like 4 jobs that are still available for. The Raiders. The Raiders are another one that is still open for business, and the talks in that have kind of picked up a little bit. I don't know why I feel like I'm missing some. And then in Tennessee, Robert Saleh, former defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers, is now the head coach in Tennessee. So there's 3 jobs left open. That's Raiders, that is the Cardinals, and that is the Cleveland Browns. 3 jobs that, look, any opportunity you can get is a blessing, but, maybe from a ownership / franchise, just the way the franchises have been going, it may not be the sexiest. Maybe if you value the number 1 pick, the Raiders job is important to you. If you don't value the number 1 pick, maybe the Browns job is important to you because you do technically have Deshaun Watson. Maybe you can resurrect his career. You have the Shedeur Sanders there, who had showed some glimpses at the end of last year. And you have that defense. And they do need more pieces offensively, but they got something going there. Arizona, you need a new quarterback, because it looks like they're going to get rid of Kyler and maybe trade him. Minnesota could be a candidate for him, something just to look out for. And then, so the Arizona job to me might be the and this is gonna sound crazy, the least desirable, only because they really don't know, where that thing is going. And then we know in Cleveland they've got some really good pieces on the defensive side. We know with the Raiders, you got the number 1 pick coming in. You do have Max Crosby, but there's a little stuff there. So I don't know. It just really depends on where you think it may go. All right. With all that being said, about time we air next week. Maybe the rest of the jobs are fulfilled, and we will talk to you about that. But with that being said, y'all go ahead and enjoy football tomorrow, man. If you're joining college basketball tonight, I know I'm going to be watching some Saturday Night Main Event. We got some wrestling going on tonight, so maybe seeing the end of AJ Styles, all that stuff. Make sure y'all check out their exclusive night podcast when you get a chance on the Legacy Maker Sports Network, talking some wrestling with my boys, Eric Knight, aka Eric Hurd, and then my man HB Prince, aka Elwood Baldwin. So you check us out. Check us out. Now, you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you are dealing with snow, be safe, stay inside while it's warm. Pray that your lights don't go out. I'm praying for everybody that their lights and electricity stay on. But most importantly, y'all just stay safe out there in the snow. Until next time, we'll see you all next week, ladies and gentlemen, because next week we give you our Super Bowl 60 preview, and episode 200 of 101 will be going down. Once again, everybody, thank you all, and we will see you all next time.
One. Welcome to the 101. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof.